Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to Online Study for You, a complete placement solution. Guys, we have Soumya ma'am here. It's not a new face at all. She's one among us who have guided so much of you to crack the interviews, the online assessment, and everything. So, Soumya, welcome. Welcome to this floor, actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deepika, for having me here.
Sure, Soumya. So the reason why we are here is the Wipro interview result. Okay, so she have been cracked in the Wipro interview too. So her experience will definitely will help you. Most of you who is watching just before the interview. Okay, so everyone, just welcome to this video. So if who have not subscribed to it, please do subscribe and activate the bell icon as well. And do activate the bell icon for all the videos so you don't miss any of the videos as well. Okay. So, Soumya, here I would like to start by giving a brief introduction of yourself. It will be great if you just give it by all yourself, like the graduation type and everything, so the viewers can relate it so much. All yours then.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So just a quick introduction of mine. So I would like to mention that I'm a computer science engineering student, but now graduated, of course. Currently working as an associate software engineer at Nagaro, and yeah, that's all about it.
Okay, so now let's jump into the selection process. Okay, so selection process is completely, from the registration to like getting the interview offer letter in hand is completely on the process. So let's start from the beginning itself, like your preparation strategy and how was your online assessment, everything from let's start from there then.
Yeah, sure. Well, as such, when I was preparing, during the time of placement, mainly companies do have this aptitude online assessment, right? So it's just if you're preparing for companies, it's like you are covering the aptitude thing, verbal reasoning. For it's just every company, like syllabus is almost the same. So it's not just I was following a specific strategy for Wipro. Obviously, I was solving all these questions, and definitely the online study for you was one of the channel that helped me a lot during my preparation. And one thing that is kind of different in Wipro from other companies' exam is that it has that essay writing thing.
Okay.
And one thing is there is sectional cutoff for every section. So if you are missing any particular section, let's suppose in coding, you did nothing, you was not able to solve any of the question, then your chances are very, very low because at least one coding question you have to solve. So for every section, maybe it's essay writing, maybe it's verbal, aptitude, reasoning, for every section there's a cutoff. And I would say overall, I would rate it as easy to medium, but again, as if every section has a cutoff, so you have to take care of for everything. And generally we do, it's like we are not giving that much preference to essay writing, but it's very, very important. You should know how to write it, what should be the proper strategy to begin with, and your essay. I would say like 200 to 400, or I would say that 200 to 300 words are more than enough. You don't have to write too much thing. You have to take care of many things like as vocab, grammar, and all these things. So yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, and this is, just now you mentioned this is a great criterion Wipro, and most probably when we students come into examination, which is our field, we'll concentrate that and we'll left that, we'll leave the other thing.
Yes,
But it is not ever applicable in Wipro. So whoever is just watching this before the online assessment, please do keep in this mind. You have to attend like at least 50% of all the sections is mandatory. Then only you can just keep a hope on the same. Okay, so according to the type of examination, the examination pattern, and how does this work, you have to prepare it yourself. Okay, so that's it. So now we have done with the online assessment. So how is the questions like kind of things like normally it is it's almost common. The syllabus is common only, but still like a brief touch on the type of questions and all.
Okay, so I would say the question was fairly easy. If I have to compare between TCS and Wipro, I would say the questions were kind of tough in Wipro, in TCS, sorry, in TCS when compared with Wipro. So in Wipro, the questions were easy, but again, as if the questions are easy, so it's not just easy for you, it's easy for everyone. So accordingly, cutoff will be decided.
Yeah.
So of course, you have to mark as many correct answers as possible because there will be a cutoff. They will decide that how many students they have to shortlisted. So that's also one thing, that too much easy is also not good.
Yeah, perfectly. Yes. So many people will be having the same marks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got through the online assessment. Okay. So most of the videos now, like interview kind of videos, we used to get the common question like after online assessment, within how many days the interview schedule do come up. So how was that in your case?
Well, it takes too much time in case of Wipro, I should say. It will take too much time. You have to keep patience. You have to wait. It can take more than 2 months even, more than 3 months even. I can't predict as because many of my friends get this particular interview assessment thing after so many days, like scheduling thing. I think the results were declared, I think 15 to 20 days later, those who
Okay.
were selected and all. So yeah, that's what's the case. It's not just for Wipro. For many companies, again, students do get anxious. It's not just for students. Even when I was having mine, I was too anxious. I used to check WhatsApp group, Telegram channel again and again if any result has been declared or not. But again, the companies are hiring lots of students, so obviously the process will take time. If you have done good, obviously you will be shortlisted. And just it's not just you are sticking to a result of a particular company. There are so many companies which are going to hire. So do keep preparing, right? If
Yeah.
you'll be selected, you'll be selected. So there is nothing to worry about. The things I would say that.
Yeah. So, what is the main point that all the like whoever looking forward for that? I mean, answer for that question will be is if we can just start preparing for the interview. So, the answer to this is this: that if you feel like your online assessment is good enough for all, and if you would like if it is good or bad, and if you really wish to win, you have to be prepared for the interview every single day. Okay, so do that. And this is just a we have gone through most of your comments, and this is the most common comment we have reads. Okay, now so that part is clear right now. So next, moving on to the interview process. So how, when you got the email, and how many days you like promptly got for the preparation?
Okay, so as such, I was not specifically preparing for Wipro.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for every company, generally the thing is that you have to go through your resume, whatever you have mentioned, you have to be good at that particular part, and obviously you have to be confident. It's not like you should know each and everything. Definitely, you can say no to something that you are not aware of. You should have a proper connection with your interviewer, and that's all things I was having in mind. And again and again, I was appearing for many companies. So according to me, the interview preparation was all set. But if the candidate who is just for him or like for whoever, this is the first company, I would like to mention that whatever you have mentioned in your resume, be thorough with that. It's not, I won't say to mention too many stuff, because for them, they are not going to shortlist you on the basis of your resume. So if it is just one C language, go with that. But you have to make sure that properly, like you should have confidence related to the questions with the C language. It's just that is also fine for them. You just go through your project. If you have mentioned some project, if you have done some final year project, you are going to mention during the time of interview, you should have the proper idea about the functioning of it, the technology on which it is working on,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you don't have to show off. Be
Okay.
genuine, what you actually are, what you actually do know. It's just you have to follow that same thing. And obviously when I went through the interview questions, so they were not that much difficult, whatever I mentioned during the time of my introduction. And I'm not sure that whether they went through my resume or not, because it just they don't have that much time to go through each and every candidate's resume. But the questions were easy, and whatever I mentioned accordingly, some basic coding question, we will be further discussing about it.
Yeah, so mark this, guys. Everybody, please do mark this. Everything, like, it's what is there in you. Just polish that. Okay, you don't have to like give so much things. First of all, you're a fresher, so some basic fundamental things only what they will be expecting from you. Okay, some basic knowledge, whether your foundational set or not. Okay, so that was it. So, like, do you remember some of the technical questions or HR related questions so that you can share it here?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So let's start with the interview thing. So of course, every company is started with this particular question. Tell me something about yourself. So this is how it is started. I mentioned a concise and tips introduction of mine, that what I'm currently doing, my technical skills, the internship I have done. So all these things I just mentioned, and then the interviewer asked me about my project, as if I mentioned my project as well during the time of introduction. So I explained them. It's from my side, what I do is I thoroughly explain my project, that
Mhm.
what it is based on, the technology, the proper functioning. Then he asked me about my role in the project, like he asked whether it was a group project or you were individually doing that. So it was a group project, so I mentioned that it was a group project and that was my particular role. He said, okay, fine. Then he gave me a particular coding question that was a palindrome. So first of
Mhm.
all, he asked me the approach. So I and like I explained him that particular approach for solving that particular problem. Then I said him that should I share my screen and show you the code as well? So he said no, that is totally fine. You know the logic. Then he gave me another problem that was reverse a string. So I explained that as well, and he didn't ask me to write the code. It's just the logic itself was fair enough for him. Then he asked me, let's suppose, gave me a particular scenario that there's a developer friend of yours in your company itself. He made a particular website. Now, what all points you will be checking in that particular website? That what should be there and all these things. I mentioned that. Let's suppose it is a login page, simply that's what he mentioned. So I said, yes, I'll be checking about the validation thing, that if suppose the website is asking for email and password, so it is following that proper email should be entered, password should be strong enough, and all these things, like kind of I went into deep and I explained. He was fairly okay with that. Then he asked me, do you have idea regarding DBMS? So I'm not that much expert. So I mentioned, yes, I have basic idea about DBMS and SQL. So he said, okay, that's fine. Then he gave me a particular query. Let's suppose there is a table. I don't know what name he gave. So let's suppose there is a table and it's consisting of two column. One is person and one is city. Now you want to extract all those person which belong to a particular city. Let's suppose Kanpur. So what will be your query? So I just mentioned that I mentioned the query that we can do like this, that select person from table name where city equal to Kanpur. He was fine. Then he gave me another query which was based on some pattern searching, that you have to extract all those persons whose name start with A. So for this, I just told him the query and I told like operator will be used here. So he was okay with that, and he was like, okay, fine, that's great. Then he asked me, so again, this is a very important thing. Generally, what we think is that during the time of a technical interview, no HR related questions will be there. But yes, he asked me that, why do you want to join Wipro? So this is generally a HR related question, but be prepared for these questions as well. Be thorough with the company for which you are preparing for. It's not like when these kind of questions are getting asked, you are totally blank. So have some idea, and it's like we all have to praise the company, its growth, and I'll be learning a lot, and all these points, we all know that, right? So just be thorough about the company and remember all these points that you have to speak at that point. So I also did the same. Then he asked that, what is your biggest achievement till the time? For this particular question also, it's not just you have to think about a very big achievement. It's not like you have met with prime minister or something. Just keep it simple. According to you, what is your biggest achievement? It can be a little one only for someone else, but for you it is the biggest achievement. So you can mention that whatever it is. It's like you got any particular position in any class or in your college, you won any competition, something like this, any hackathon or something. You can mention that, right? This can be your biggest achievement according to you. And then he asked me, like, where do you see yourself after 5 years? So for this question also, I won't say that you have to brag a lot that I'll be seeing myself as the CEO of company, or I'll be having my own startup. You can have these thoughts in your mind, but don't mention with the interviewer. You can simply say, I'll be working with the organization, I'll be improving myself, I'll be updating myself, and we'll do mutual, like I'll be keep going along with the organization. These kind of valid points you can mention, and you can Google it. Like for these kind of questions, what should be your answer? You'll be getting many answers, and you can prepare accordingly. But don't mention all these things, see you and different things. So yeah, that was my complete interview. I would rate that it was from easy to medium, and the interviewer was also very friendly, and so it went well.
Yeah. So when I just got to hear all these things, like in the eligibility criteria, we often used to go through these some points like good communication skill, self-driven, self-motivated, and admiration, anxious. So everything have been came through all the questions. Like as you just stated now, where you see in self and what is your biggest achievement, everything. So all these things are getting evaluated with with some other questions. So this is what they're expecting. Okay, so eligibility criteria is have a great thing to do in the interview process. So make sure you have everything, and they are looking forward in you something that is related to that. So make sure you, if you don't have itself, if you want this job, just show them you have it. Okay, so that's a like safe play kind of thing. Okay then. So interview just got down well, so well. So after that, when you got the result, like was it too long or you got it promptly, something like that?
I got result, I think 3 to 4 days later for the HR round.
Okay, so HR round was separately conducted. So
Yes.
Okay, so what were the questions regarding that and how it went?
Yeah, so for HR round, it was just the basic one, but like many questions were there. Like first of all, again, it started with the introduction. Then why do you want to join Wipro? Then how you will be contributing in the progress of India. So that was one question. So talking about my HR round, so it was like basic HR related questions were there. So it started with the introduction of mine. I explained about myself and all the things that I earlier mentioned in the video itself.
Mhm.
Then he asked me that why do you want to join Wipro? I mentioned this particular time, like again praising the companies and there will be growth, there will be learning and all these things. Then he asked me like, okay, what will be your contribution in the progress of country? It was like just a random question. I wasn't as such prepared for it, but again I maintained to answer for this as well. And then he asked me, okay, can you please mention the leadership qualities, like what kind of leadership qualities do you have? How do you consider yourself as a leader? Can you give any kind of real example if you have done any such thing? So again, I would like to say that for the soft skills as well, be prepared with some real life example. It's not like randomly you have mentioned anything in your resume. If you have mentioned leadership, then you should prepare that any real life example to which you can connect and you can tell, okay, this is the situation where I reacted as a leader, I took my team together and all these things. So be prepared for these kind of questions as well. The same question was asked to me during that thesis interview as well. So this was one question, and then again, one or two questions were again there. I cannot recall as such, but again, they were just basic HR questions. But yeah, he asked me then about relocation, about night shift. I said I'm totally fine with that. But he asked me like, if we will allocate any technology to you, will you be fine with that? Yeah, I mentioned yes, obviously I'll be fine with that. I would love to explore different technologies. And then he asked me about bond. I said yes, I'm aware of that bond. Okay, so interview went well, and then at the last he said, I'm done with my side. If you have any questions to ask. So I just asked about that in how many days I can expect the results. Also, like as if it has been so many years you are working with the company. So can you please elaborate more about the work culture and work-life balance? So again, he was praising the company and all these things were there. And at the last, it just ended up and it went well according to me. And after, I guess, like few days after, I got my LOI from the site and then offer letter as well.
Okay, so this is a complete thing. Like it's like Wipro and Accenture. Like if I could conclude, then Wipro and Accenture used to take much time when compared to others. Is it so from your experience?
Yes,
Yeah, so that's it. So
yes,
who,
yes,
yeah. So if you're very confident enough about the online assessment or the interview, whatever you have did, then just don't get worried because it's getting long. Am I rejected or that? Just keep hope if you have did well. So check your mails constantly. Don't miss that as well. So this mail checking is one the other thing. Okay, they don't take into consideration until we are a professional. So just make it out. If you're an employee, if you're an employee looking for a job, mail section is very important. Go for that as well. And one more final question to you, Soumya, that is, you have been facing so much of interviews, and especially Wipro part, and you have guided so much students too. So, from all of this experience, like how do you rate especially Wipro? How do you rate the questions and everything? So, if a person want to prepare, from where he or she should start, the days that he or she should take, and everything, all that.
well, I would say the questions were basics only, and like companies they see the companies don't expect very much from freshers that they should be aware of. But we have gone through all these basics during our college lab. We have learned different programming languages. We have done some coding questions as well, which are fairly basic one and must to do coding questions. So these kind of questions they do only ask, as I mentioned, palindrome and the reverse system. They are commonly asked questions, right? So basic things should be prepared according to me. It's not like you cannot say I don't know coding, but just these are just fairly basic questions. So at least they should be prepared. I would say just brush up your basic skills and whatever you have, be confident in that. I would say instead of being a jack of all, be master of one, and that's all. Be confident during the time of interview. If you don't know anything, simply say I don't know it. Just don't fake at the time. Be genuine, be yourself, and yeah, that's it.
So if someone have to start the preparation, how long they should take to prepare? I mean, 1 month for the online assessment is the best part they can do. But if you're just in the last moment, like 10 days, will it go or not?
Definitely it will go. It's not like it will be asking a very difficult question. Simply I would say that what is going to help you out at the last time for the online assessment, the previous year questions. So you'll find many videos on our channel itself. You can explore them, and they are just more than enough. Definitely they are going to help you out, and according to the level of questions as well. So they are also easy. But if you don't know anything, any concept, then definitely easy is also going to be difficult for you. So just explore the previous year questions. And what happened in case of Wipro, that is also an advantage. Just previous year questions do repeat. So it will be helpful for my case as well. 5 to 6 questions were from previous year question paper itself. So yeah, that I would like to mention.
Yeah. So I'm just in closing this session. So as a summary, guys, like if you are preparing for the Wipro, we just got to know about online assessment, right? You have to like do 50% at least in every section. Now coming to interview process, it's not about Wipro. If it is about any of the company, like you're a fresher, you have anything, you have only something that is related to cast in your syllabus. If you're going for all these kind of bulk hiring scenarios, so just what is there in your resume, what you know, just brush it up. All that you need. Okay, there's nothing much you need, and include that, push that in your tell me yourself. Okay, tell me yourself that criteria. So they'll just hear it out and put the questions accordingly. It's like we are putting them the things that you wanted them to ask. Okay, so this strategy will play well, and I think you now got a perfect idea like how you have to go through and how you will be getting all through in this complete process. So, Soumya, thanks once again and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much, Deepika.
Okay, so that's all, guys. Make your preparation go well, and as Soumya said, there are immense experience video in our video section itself. And if you want to go for some materials too, we can provide with that in an application. There are plenty of materials for interview purpose as well. So if you wish to get, just contact us. You can just make it up in comment section, mail, or whatever you like. Okay, so guys, that's all for today. So until I come up again, everybody stay safe, stay happy, and stay tuned to online study for you.